What's up everyone, Jeremy here. Welcome to another video in the tone sample series. In this video, I'm going to show you how I used different sections from multiple NeuralDSP plugins and additional plugins to create completely custom and absolutely killer tones. What's up everyone? How did I get this tone? Let's just jump right into Logic and we will break it down. First thing, let's just kind of run through the signal chain. The very first thing we have happening here is a high and low pass. You will note that there is a little bit of a pullback here going on at 131 Hertz. This is because in this particular track, there is a lot of open ringing dead mutes that really kind of started to get woofy a little bit right here at 131 Hertz. So pulled that back a little bit just to kind of tame that woofiness. But essentially just a high and a low pass. So now we're going to get into what I alluded to in the intro of this video, which is mix and matching different sections from multiple plugins to create a custom tone. So the very first thing we're going to go into here is the Fortin Cali Suite. However, you will note that the amp section and the cab section are turned off. So why is that? Well, the very first thing that I knew that I had to use when creating a heavy tone, a really thick, chunky tone, is I knew I had to use my Fortin pedals. I had to have them. The Zool and the Grind are fantastic, the best of the best, in my opinion, for that really thick, chunky, tight tone. So that's why I use the Fortin pedals here. So I'll pull this to the side. The very next thing is probably one of my favorite amps, amp sims anyways. I don't own the actual amp, but the amp sim is fantastic. And again, here I will point out that the pedal section, the EQ, the speaker, the cabinet IR section is all turned off. This is just the amp. You can see all the settings I'm using here. Then the very next thing that we go into is our cabinet section. So what are we using for that? We're using GGD Zilla cabs. Absolutely fantastic IRs. ML Sound Lab and GGD Zilla cabs, best of the best out there right now. I'm absolutely loving them. And you can see the fairly simple settings that I'm using here. I'm using two oversized straight 4x12s with vintage 30s in both and SM57s, one straight, one off axis. The off axis is pulled back a little ways, probably about 50%. And then we have a super fat boy 2x12 with a V30 UK with a KM184 microphone that is pulled back volume. Is pulled back to about maybe -6 or so. And that is essentially what makes up this tone. I will point out there is one other plugin I'm using here, which is GGD Smash and Grab, which is their compressors plugin. So this is mainly designed for drums, but obviously you can use it for basically anything. As Misha pointed out in his video, I think it was uploaded to the Get Good Drums YouTube channel. Something like Misha puts Smash and Grab on everything. Very, very informative and instructional video. I highly recommend it. So with this one, I'm using just a little bit of compression on the guitar here, again, because of that woofy palm muting. It kind of helped tame that a little bit. So that's the only reason you're seeing that compressor here. But essentially, this is what you're seeing on the screen right now is what makes up the tone. Super thick, super tight, super chunky, absolutely loving it. So that's what I use to create this heavy tone. And I will point out, if you want to hear this tone in an actual mix, if you go back to the beginning of this video, right after my intro, when you see the tone sample series, the text that pops up on the screen there, you're hearing the music, that has a track that is using this exact setup in a full mix. So if you want to hear it in a full mix, go back and check that out. It's also at the end of the video, so if you hang around, you'll hear it again. And one other quick plug is I'm releasing 2 tracks on obviously all the wherever you get your music, it'll be there. Amazon, Google Play, Apple Music, Spotify. It'll be released on all of them on June 8th. That will also feature this exact setup. So go give that a listen when it comes out June 8th. All right. So the next thing I want to point out is we can take this another step further and just continue to mix and match different sections of plugins to create out of this world tones. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at the other one I've got here. And the only difference between this one and the last one is the Omega Ampworks Granophyre settings have changed. I've dialed back the gain quite a bit. We're in the low gain mode, and I've actually turned down the gain a bit. I've boosted the bass, pulled back the treble, boosted the depth, and pulled back the detail. Again, just trying to make a more of a warm tone versus a bright, thick, chunky tone, like we had before. And the reason is because I've added in the Archetype Abasi plugin to this signal chain. And I will note that every section in this plugin is turned off except the post effects, the Chronos D and the Chronos R. So the delay and reverb. So those are on, and you can see the settings here. So what does this sound like? Oh my gosh, I love those effects. They are fantastic. Again, this is the Archetype Abasi. So the entire signal chain here is the EQ high and low pass, the Fortin Zool and grind pedals engaged from the Fortin Cali Suite, Omega Ampworks Granophyre, and in fact, I'm just going to put it on the screen so you can see it. So we have the Fortin pedals, we have the Omega Ampworks Granophyre, then Abasi, and our IR is the same as it was before, exact same settings with the Zilla cabs. So that is what is making up this particular tone, and it's fantastic. I love it. So here's another example. Amazing. So that is what I use to create that tone. So as you can see, we're using 3 different NeuralDSP plugins with a separate IR plugin. Yeah, that's essentially it. Get creative with it. So if you have any of these plugins yourself, you're not just stuck with using what's in the plugin itself. Get creative, turn off sections of one and stack them up and create absolutely amazing custom tones by using multiple together. So if you have Abasi and you love those effects, but you want to try and use it with, say, the Fortin Nameless, for example, or Omega like I'm doing, you can do that. Go, create, make awesome stuff. All right, everyone, there you have it. That's how I mixed and matched different sections from multiple plugins to create completely custom and absolutely killer tones. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. If you liked this video, please hit subscribe, like, and share. And as always, thank you for watching and thank you for your support.